This screencast covers the course information and syllabus. If you have not already done so, please print out a copy of the course information and syllabus that I have provided to you. I encourage you to stop the screencast where appropriate and read on the various topics that I am discussing. Also, if you have not already done so, I encourage you to read the syllabus from beginning to end, make any notes or write down any questions that you may have so that I can address them on the first day of class. I will discuss the following topics in the screencast. I'm going to discuss my contact information and my office hours, talk a little bit about when the class meets, how long it meets. Then we'll talk briefly about the prerequisites for the course. Then we'll discuss the textbook and lab manual that I require for the course. We're going to talk about how you will be evaluated, grading information. Talk about the policies of missing work. We'll talk about the lab and lecture schedule for the semester. I will briefly talk about how you go about withdrawing from a course. And then we'll end by discussing The Point, which is the website provided by your publisher that supports your book and provides you with a wealth of resources. And then I'll also briefly talk about PrepU and discuss how you need to make arrangements to access this assessment and quizzing website. So let's get started. The information contained on your course information and syllabus is very important. It is basically your owner's manual and handbook for the class. It is an agreement between me, your instructor, and you, the student. So make sure that you become familiar with its content and that you refer to it often. If you were to lose your hard copy of the course information and syllabus, there is an electronic copy available on Blackboard. My contact information is found on the first page. My office is B2200, which is located on the second floor, very close to the escalators. You can reach me by phone as well as by email. I try to reply to all emails within 48 hours. Typically, though, I'll respond within 24 hours. My office hours are listed as well. Office hours are times that I make myself available to work exclusively with students. My Monday office hours are held in my office. However, on Wednesday and Friday, my office hours are held in the Student Achievement Center that is located on the second floor in the new portion of the building, what's referred to as the Gateway Center. Although I make myself available to students, very few students actually take advantage of office hours. So my message to you is, I am here for you. Please use me. Come and see me during my office hours. Also found on page 1 of the course information and syllabus is class information. The class begins on August 27th. It runs for 16 weeks, and final exams are given during week 17. The class meets for lecture in room D2610 on the second floor on Tuesday from 10 o'clock to 11:15, although typically we will end earlier than 11:15. Two labs meet together for lecture. If you are in section 6, then your lab will be from 11:30 to 1:20 in room E3885. If you are in section 1, your lab will be from 1:30 to 3:20, also in room E3885. The prerequisites for the course are listed on page 2. If you do not meet these prerequisites, I strongly suggest that you withdraw from the course. Students who do not meet these prerequisites do not tend to perform very well in this course. Textbook information is found on page 2. Your textbook shown here is by McConnell and Hull. This is a brand new textbook. So if you've taken this course before, or if you obtained a textbook from a friend, I'm sorry, you're going to have to buy this one. This textbook was specifically chosen for the hybrid version of this class. It also comes with access to the online quizzing and testing environment called PrepU. The lab manual is by Elaine Marib. It is the lab manual that I have used for the last 6 years. If you have a previous version of this lab manual, that is just fine. There's very little difference other than the cover, quite honestly, from the previous editions versus the current edition. So if you obtain this lab manual from a friend, or you have it from taking this course previously, that's just fine. Grading information is found on pages 2 and 3. The lecture component of the course accounts for 60% of your overall grade, or 600 points out of 1,000. You will be given online assignments and activities to complete weekly, and at the end of the semester, they will add up to 80 points, or 8% of your grade. Those online activities and assignments prepare you for your quizzes. The quizzes will all be online. You will access them using PrepU. There's information on PrepU on the course syllabus on page 7. The quiz questions will consist of about 12 questions. There'll be multiple choice, and they will be taken from a pool of questions from the Point. That is your publisher's website that you have access to as long as you purchased your book. Information on accessing the Point may be found on Course Resources, page 7 of your syllabus. At the end of the semester, I will drop your 2 lowest quizzes, take the remaining quizzes, average them together, and they will account for 60 points, or 6% of your grade. There will be 3 in-class exams. Each will be worth 100 points. Well, actually, I will drop your lowest of the 3, and the remaining 2 will be worth 100 points each, or each account for 10% of your grade. You will also have 1 take-home exam, which will be worth 60 points, or 6% of your grade. At the end of the semester, your last exam will be your final. It is worth 200 points, or 20% of your grade. So when you take the online activities and assignments, the quizzes, the in-class exams, the take-home, and the final, they all account for 600 points, or 60% of your overall grade. The other 40% of your overall grade comes from lab. You will have 3 lab practicals, or exams. Each will be worth 120 points. Your pre-labs, and there will be 13 of them, will collectively be worth 40 points. So that adds up to 400 points. You will also have quizzes weekly, but the quizzes are extra credit. The quizzes collectively can give you 20 points. So you have the ability to accumulate a total of 420 points out of 400 points. Again, 20 points being extra credit from your quizzes. You'll find the grading scale on pages 3 and 4. It is self-explanatory, so I will not go into greater depth. So to summarize, your grade will be determined by a combination of points from lecture and lab. 600 points, or 60%, will come from lecture. You will have 3 in-class exams. I will drop your lowest exam. Each of the remaining 2 exams will contribute 100 points. You will have various online assignments that will contribute an additional 80 points. We will have quizzes weekly, which will contribute another 60 points. You will have a take-home exam, which will contribute 60 points, and then you will have a final exam, which will contribute 200 points, for a total of 600 points for your lecture evaluation. Your lab will be responsible for the remaining 400 points, or 40%. You will have 3 practicals, each worth 120 points, and your pre-labs collectively will be worth 40 points. So 600 points from lecture, 400 points from lab, gives you a grand total of 1,000 total points. Your grades will be posted in the Grade Center of Blackboard, and they'll be updated regularly. So you take an exam, I grade the exam, I post the score, and I update your overall grade. So you should know at any given time in the course how you are performing. I am always amazed by the number of students that have no real idea how they're performing in a course. You should know at any given point in my course or any other course where you stand. How do you know if you need help, or how much additional time you need to spend in a course if you don't know how well you are performing? You should know at all times how you're performing in a course. Let's talk about missed work. So in lecture, I do not allow makeup quizzes, exams, or for you to make up online assignments. Remember that I drop your 2 lowest quizzes. So if you forget to take a quiz, or if something happens that doesn't allow you to adequately prepare for a quiz or take the online quizzes, don't worry, I drop your lowest 2. I drop your lowest exam. So if you get sick, or there's a family emergency, or something happens that doesn't allow you to adequately prepare for exam or to show up to class to take the exam, you will get a 0, but that 0 will be dropped. Online assignments must be completed on time. If they are not, you will not receive credit for those online assignments. Now, I do understand that there are things scheduled ahead of time during a time when an exam may be scheduled. And if you let me know ahead of time, let's say you're going to be out of town, and you know you're going to be out of town on the day we're going to have the exam. If you let me know that ahead of time, we can establish a time prior to your departure where you can take the exam. Okay? If you tell me ahead of time, I'm more than willing to work with you. But without prior arrangements with me, if you miss a quiz or you miss an exam, you're simply not going to be able to make it up. You will have a take-home exam. That take-home exam, if it's late, there's an automatic 20 to 25% reduction. And if it's more than a week late, there's going to be a 30% reduction. Let's talk about missing lab quizzes and practicals. So your quizzes are going to be given at the beginning of lab. If you're not there in lab at the beginning to take the quiz, you get a 0. And you can't make it up. The lab quizzes are extra credit, so I don't feel the need to give makeups. If you're there, you have a chance at extra credit. If you're not, you don't. With lab practicals, again, as with lecture exams, if you know you have a schedule conflict and you can't make a practical during your normal day and time, talk with me. We can arrange for an alternate day and time. There are 2 other instructors that are teaching anatomy and physiology on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. Together, they have 7 other labs, and they'll be giving the same practicals. So if, again, you let me know ahead of time, I'll work with you to try to arrange an alternate day and time for you to take the practical. However, if you just fail to show up for a practical for whatever reason, I will allow you to make up that practical since I don't drop your lowest practical. However, there is going to be a 10% reduction in your score, and I reserve the right to give that makeup practical during final exams. And I say this because it's really quite difficult to set up a lab practical. Well, it's not difficult, but it's very time consuming. And I may not be able to do that during the regular semester. So we may have to do that during final exam week. Bottom line is, if at all possible, don't miss a lab practical. The last day that you can withdraw from the course and not receive a grade is December 5th. It is the student's responsibility to know what their grade is, and as this deadline approaches, to make an informed decision on whether or not it is in the student's best interest to remain in the course or to withdraw. At one time, faculty members could withdraw a student upon request. However, that is no longer the case. Faculty do not have the ability to withdraw students. Students must withdraw themselves. So please keep that in mind as that withdrawal deadline approaches. I want to encourage you to read through the responsibilities and policies listed on pages 4 through 6. While I am not going to discuss them in the screencast, you will be held responsible for being familiar with them and adhering to these policies. Located on pages 7 and 8 are a list of course resources. Please read through these various resources and familiarize yourself with them. I am not going to elaborate on them any further than that, with the exception of these first two, the Point and PrepU. The Point is the website provided by the publisher of your book. It has a wealth of resources for you to take advantage of. There's podcasts, there's videos, there's games, there's glossaries, there's all kinds of things that are there. And when you purchased your book, you purchased access to this website. There is a code in the inner cover of your book that will allow you to establish an account and access this information. In the electronic version of your syllabus, there's a direct link that you can click on and access the Point. PrepU is a assessment and quizzing system. You purchased access to PrepU when you purchased this textbook from the bookstore. Now, if you did not purchase your text from the bookstore, if you went to Amazon.com or somewhere else, you will need to purchase PrepU separately. PrepU is required for this course. All of your quizzes are going to be accessed through PrepU, and also a lot of valuable self-assessment, which I'll talk a little bit more about in class on Tuesday, that will be completed from PrepU. I wouldn't require PrepU if I didn't think it was invaluable to being successful in this course. To get started, I would recommend that you watch the student training video. The link is provided in your syllabus, so if you just open up the electronic version of your syllabus and click on the link, it'll take you right to the training video, and it'll provide you with all the information that you need to get started. In the final pages of your course information and syllabus, I have provided you with a schedule of our face-to-face meetings. For each week, I have provided you with the date that we meet, the topics which will be covered in lecture, and the topics that will be covered in lab in italics. I have also indicated the dates of all of your exams and your lab practicals. Lastly, I have provided the days and times that general anatomy and physiology labs are held by other instructors. Although you are expected to attend my labs, if an emergency or something comes up where that is not possible, please let me know and arrangements can be made for you to attend labs taught by these other instructors. For the most part, our labs are synchronized and we cover the same material. To review, these are the topics which I discussed: my contact information, information about when and where the class meets, the prerequisites for the course, information about the textbook and lab manual, how you will be evaluated both in lab and lecture, my policies on missed and late work, the lab and lecture schedules, how you go about withdrawing from a course, or at least a deadline to withdraw from a course. And finally, I discussed the point and PrepU. I want to encourage you, if you have not already, to read the syllabus from beginning to end. Any questions you have, anything you don't understand, please write them down and ask me on the first day of class to address those questions. Your syllabus is very important. Make sure that you have a copy with you or you have access to a copy throughout the entire semester. It is your owner's manual for the course. That concludes the screencast. I will see you in class.